Welcome to Bloodbath and Beyond. Today we review Beyond the Gates. Press play and pray.
Directed by Jackson Stewart, starring Chase Williamson, Brea Grant, Graham Skipper, and Barbara Crampton, Beyond the Gates is about two brothers who are reuniting to close up their dad's video store because he's been missing for 7 months. While digging through the inventory, they stumble upon a board game very similar to Atmosphere and Nightmare. It's a VHS board game in which they take instructions from Barbara Crampton, who plays the gatekeeper, who basically tells them how to play the game. Unfortunately, the game Beyond the Gates becomes a living nightmare. So what do we like?
If you grew up in the 90s, you knew Nightmare, you knew this board game.
The Gatekeeper!
And seeing a movie based on this concept of the board game that is a horror interactive VHS board game is interesting. It's something that we haven't seen, surprisingly, considering that it's like 20 plus years. Like, there really should have been a movie like this other than Jumanji, where it's like a board game comes to life, but that's on a different level. But like a Nightmare Atmosphere style of board game, it's a good concept. I like what they've done with that.
I enjoyed Barbara Crampton. I love Barbara Crampton.
Because that lady was fucking smoking hot. I think I want it.
And she did a pretty good job as our gatekeeper in this movie. She's pretty cut and dry with her answers and her questioning of the people trying to play the board game because they're pretty hesitant to play the game. And she tries to set them on track consistently. We'll get to that later on.
A wise man would read the instructions.
We had on-screen kills. That was a nice touch. You know, we got to see some gore, some good practical effects, which always adds to the movie.
We also had great music from Wojciech Galzewski, who also did We Are Still Here. He's got a very unique, like, synthy electronic 80s, 90s vibe to it. And so from the opening credits, you know it's gonna have that 80s or 90s feel. Now, what didn't we like? The biggest problem with this movie is the same reason that people are going to dislike it, is what you want a movie about the interactive VHS board game to be, it really doesn't take form how you ever envision it.
Are you ready to step into the ultimate nightmare? A world of unimaginable horror.
The whole movie builds up to these people going into a different dimension, going beyond the gates to save their dad's spirit. And well, that inevitably happens. Beyond the Gates is not another set, it's not another location, it's actually their same house just with a pink light on. It's so disappointing, and it lasts probably 5 minutes.
What's even more disappointing is the fact that they do not play the board game throughout this entire movie. It is frustrating. I was very frustrated in this movie. It's out, it's open, the tape's in, the pieces are on the table. Play the goddamn game.
You guys, I'm getting a really bad energy off of this. Do you mind if I go upstairs?
No.
They start playing the game at about 20 minutes in, and then every 10 minutes, they look at the game and then go to bed. And that happens 4 times. And it's repeat shots. They sit down, they look at the game, they look at the tape, oh, we shouldn't play this. Then they go to bed. Then it cuts to them waking up in the middle of the night. Maybe we should play the game.
I think we should stop messing with this.
Nah, okay, we're gonna go to bed. And this shit happens over and over and over again to the point where you're just like, I don't care what's gonna happen anymore because I don't think it's ever gonna get good. And unfortunately, it does not.
Most of the time, the 3 of them aren't even playing it together. They're all doing things separately, which is even more frustrating because they're supposed to play the game together.
I swear, if we started a game in the morning or in the middle of the night at 3:13, whatever, if I like just went downstairs, rolled a dice, moved my guy, and then you woke up and saw things had changed, you'd be pissed.
Yeah.
That's not how you play board games, and they shouldn't have done it that way. I think that this had a great concept. They just failed on the execution. I mean, the production value is great, the acting was fine enough, but what the fuck? Honestly, like, this is a huge letdown because it's not what people would expect. It's a really, really slow burn. Nothing really happens for about 80 minutes. And then when it does, it doesn't matter because it's literally just turning on a pink and blue light, and that's it. And there is no real climax. The climax lasts 45 seconds. Now it's time for our final thoughts and ratings. This movie had a great concept. It definitely captured the 80s, 90s nostalgia that a lot of people wanted from the movie. Unfortunately, they failed on the execution when it actually came to playing the game that people came to watch a movie about. The Other Dimension is the exact same location. There isn't really anything interesting about this movie, and that's unfortunate because I like the actors and I like the actresses in it. But there is absolutely no way that I could recommend this to you because it's pretty boring and frustrating to watch because you're constantly waiting for something to happen and almost nothing ever does. So I'm gonna give this one terrible decision to not sleep with Brea Grant out of 5.
I was really excited for Beyond the Gates because I loved Nightmare. I loved playing that game, and I was looking forward to the idea of this movie being based around this game. I was also looking forward to the idea that this was gonna be more like a horror Jumanji. And it was not. It was the exact opposite. It's like watching Jumanji, but not getting all the fun action and just dealing with Robin Williams' issues with his dad. Like that's what this film felt like, was all drama and no fun. And this was not a fun movie at all. Yes, we had moments of really good kills and interesting practical effects, and it sounded great with an enjoyable soundtrack, but the story itself was beyond disappointing. So I'm going to give this one action cop movie out of 5.
As always, thank you for watching. Like this video and comment below with your thoughts on the film if you've seen it. If you haven't and you do want to check it out, there are links in the description where you can find it. And if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe to the channel, stay updated with everything Bloodbath and beyond.